What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to work on another little series that involves getting our character moving that we started working on in previous tutorials. Now it's going to be without animation because doing that with movement takes a little bit more thought out processing. So you can, there's a few ways you can go about that. One is mannequin, of course, where you can build complex animations. And for more simpler terms, you can actually invoke the simple animation event bus and just have it built around your movement. So we'll probably look at both of those options in the future, the near future rather. And yeah, we're definitely going to go ahead and do that. As a quick side note, this little series and maybe a few more videos after that, definitely after Mother's Day weekend, I will be creating a simple pre-built level that we will probably use in future videos just for a more visually appealing workspace when we're building and testing out new things for tutorials. And if everything turns out really well, then I will probably most definitely release that as a gem for you guys to download to play with yourself if you're not like working on your own game. My only request is that I don't see it on Steam Greenlight, because if I do, we gonna have some problems. Alright, back to the tutorial. So we're gonna do two things in this video, guys, and that's input bindings and setting up our player to how you would set it up for a game and things of that nature. So we're gonna go over a few things in this little series. It's definitely gonna be input bindings, character setup, a simple third-person camera, a simple first-person camera, and getting our character moving, of course, with Lua. So those are the main things we're going to tackle. And then, sorry, that's my phone. Those are the main things we're going to tackle, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about some of my little roadblocks because, you know, the engine is still in flux. But let's get to it. So we want to go to File, go down to Project Settings, and you'll see an option for input mapping. Click on that. Now this is your main window for your input bindings editor, obviously. So what we want to do is go to File, Create New Asset, Input to sorry, it's the only option you have, but it's Input to Event Binding Asset. Let's click on that. It's gonna bring up a window, and just find your location to save it in. So for me, I already have my own folder. So I'll go to Objects, C Studios, and we want to go to Input Binding. Now I already have one in there because, of course, I was testing things out before I started the tutorial. But we're going to do everything from scratch. So let's make another one and call it, just call it Main. Because you're probably going to have the same input, especially if you're like doing single player. Even if you're doing multiplayer, they're gonna have the same inputs, and unless you're like doing player, then you're gonna have like vehicle or companion or something like that, and you have different inputs for that. But for simplicity's sake, we're gonna keep one. And let's go to save, and now we have event groups. So with this is where we're going to set up all of our events and name them and tag them to, you know, a controller or a mouse or a keyboard. So when we call it through Lua, we will have the proper event binding set up for that key code, and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and plus here. What we want to do is add 4 events. So forward, back, left, and right. So we're going to strafe left and right, and then we're going to have forward walking, backwards walking, sorry. Alright, so drop down the very first one, and for the event name, we're just going to call it forward. And for the event generator, we're going to hit that plus sign. We want to make it, for the classes, go to input, and it's the only option anyway. Hit OK. Now go back into the forward event, drop down the event generator, and you should have a generator right there. So it's going to default to escape. So we want it on the keyboard. So under input name, let's scroll to and look for W. So right now we're creating the WSAD movement keys. So just follow that. So we have W, close that. Now the next one, we're going to make one for backward. Sorry, not A. What am I doing? S. Okay, and you guys get the idea. So I'm going to speed up the video, and then when I come back, we're gonna have the WSAD, and yeah, and just follow that, and you guys should have 4 events following that. All right, guys, we're back. So as you can see, we have forward, backwards, left, and right. If I drop them down, we have W, S for backward, A for left, and D for right. So if you guys follow that same method, you can name them whatever you want to. Just make sure you name them something that you can remember when we're tagging it in the Lua script. You can always copy and paste, but it's easy to put something that's easy to remember because it's, you know, case sensitive. It is a string, so you just make sure that it's inputted correctly and we're good to go. So after we've done that, let's go to save and close. This is very important. Make sure you go to save and close. Next, we want to create our character, and this will conclude this video. We want to keep it short and sweet because like I said in my last little series, some of you guys might just looking for a certain element and you don't want to sift through, you know, 5 or 10 minutes of video to find what you need. So I hope this method works for you guys, breaking it down into little sections like this. And if it does, I'll keep it like that unless it's something that's really needed to be talked about thoroughly. All right, so as you guys know, we're going to use the component entity system. So let's go ahead inside of the outliner. Let's right click, create entity. We want to rename it to, let's say, player. Okay, so the player entity is your driving force. It is what holds the majority of your scripts or your visual scripting code. It holds the majority of that code, and then each layer can have its own, you know, script per se when needed. But the majority of it, where the animation is called from, where the movement and everything, it's called from this player object. But we're going to have child entities that hold different things like the camera and the player mesh and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and right click on player, create child entity, and it gives us a drop down. So entity 2. So we want to call this the mesh. Now you can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to keep it simple, call it the mesh. And with this, we're going to add a component. We want to get the skinned mesh, and we want to look for the character definition file that we created in the last video, or that you want to pause the video and create yourself another one if you want to. All right, so let's open that up. Drop down samples project, objects, my C Studios folder, and we still have the main player from the previous video that we created. Hit OK, and there he is. Cool. Now that we have that built, we can move on to the next video where we set up let's set up the simple character the simple cameras the next video. That won't be really short because it's really simple. It's really easy, really simple. I try to say easy and simple at the same time. It's really easy and really simple, so that video is going to be really short, but you're going to see how easy it is to get something simple set up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it wasn't too short, hope it wasn't too long. I hope you guys like this structure, breaking it down to components like this. If you did, do not forget to hit that like button. Share this with other developers if you see them looking or having interest into the engine. Try to be active on the forums. I'm going to try to be a little bit more active myself, and let's try to build our community, guys. So I will talk to you guys later. Actually, the next video should be up about 30 minutes after this one. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys over there, and always remember, guys, to keep developing.